So now we are very honored that the Senator Jens Kerstan of the Hamburg Authority of the Environment, Climate, Energy and Agriculture accepted our invitation to address the welcome words to our conference. A design center is probably not a place where we expect the most a senator for the environment, as it's affiliated to the cultural sector. Therefore, we're especially grateful for your coming, Mr. Kerstan. But in fact, 80% of the environmental impact of a product is made by design decisions. So, the ambition of the project interface is to make a systemic change in the design and manufacturing process towards a more sustainable and circular model of production and consumption. To realize the ecological transition, collaboration and support from all sectors and political decision makers are needed and should be on the top of their agenda, not only on that one of Mr. Kerstan. Well, this is a wish, Mr. Kerstan. Now I invite you to join me on stage to address your welcome words. Please welcome Mr. Kerstan.
Yeah, thank you for the warm welcome, and I'm really delighted to have the opportunity to talk to you today here on your workshop. Yesterday's conference and the workshops today and the plenary session mark, in my opinion, a very successful conclusion of the Interfacer project after a little under 2 years, and we are very proud to have it here in our city. I've been showed a little bit about your results already, and if you evaluate the importance for the major goal, we all have achieving more for sustainability. And maybe let me start with this. It shouldn't sound too pessimistic, but despite many years of criticism and discussion, the throwaway culture is still very much present, not here in Hamburg, but in Germany, everywhere, in our society, in our economy. And this applies just as much to the manufacturers of products as of the consumers of those products. I don't want to diminish or play down the progress in efficiency that we have certainly achieved in the last years. But if we look very calmly and with a very critical blink on what we have succeeded so far, we haven't come far enough. So at this time, decoupling added value and growth from the consumption of energy and resources. And so the manufacturing goods still entails the extraction of finite and non-renewable resources and the generation of environmental pollution and waste. And I'm very glad that you all work today and all in projects trying to change that. And we are very proud that we are the first city being part of Fab City in Germany, and still are the only city doing that. Since we here in Hamburg, we have the ambition to be pioneers. Pioneers in the environmental policy, pioneers in fighting climate change, in making heating and cooling more sustainable, and in fact, making a big million city more sustainable. And there were long and intense discussions many years ago here in our city if there's a mission statement for our city, a little bit inspired by Richard Florida, Creative City, or even Charles Landry and others. And I'm very glad that those discussions were in politics. You might have the impression not much has come out of this discussion, that there are so many initiatives and so many projects here in Hamburg, working in that spirit and going ahead. And for me and my authority, we know in economic circles, sometimes an environmental authority is being considered to be, well, they are controlling us, they are regulating us, and they always get a bad conscience if someone of us gets around. But in fact, my ministry sees itself as actually the real economic ministry in the city, because our people have much to do with the working process in economic companies or in projects. I mean, if you need energy, if you have to treat the waste, if you need a permission for industrial or machinery or plants, if you need space, if you have to talk about using sustainable materials for building, I mean, you are coming to our ministry, and we see ourselves as partners and as drivers of technology and of innovation. And so we have a very, very close connection to working together with business, because we know we can't be successful without business, and we do that on a very large scale. I mean, about decarbonizing our heating system, to power plants investing more than 2 billion euro in the next 5 years, or building up a green hydrogen economy in Hamburg, always together the German, the Hamburg local companies, together with our universities, together with our industry. And we are happy to do that on a smaller scale. And so my small but very active division, the green economy, which is located in our economic ministry, is very active in something called Partnerschaft Hamburg, environmental partnership. It's a free will initiative where we work together with hundreds of Hamburgian companies for many years to support them in their commitment to environment, to sustainability, and to work and produce with less resources. And in this network, companies can stimulate and have a role model for other companies. Not everybody has to invent everything again and again, but you need a good practice is very, very important. And many of our environmental partners are investing in very important efficiency measures in the transition of e-mobility and pursuing environmentally friendly production and development. And we have initiated our own competitions, some of them here, and its results were demonstrated. And what excites me very much is to see how many developments and innovations already exist. And so I'm always happy when I'm invited, as today, to learn more what's going on without us having to trigger it. And our regional innovation strategy, for which my ministry is not in the first place responsible. It's my colleague Melanie Leonhardt, Senator for Economics and Innovation. We work very closely together, which is not always the case in environmental authority and economic ministries. And work on strengthening certain core sectors and skills areas in our city in conjunction with scientific institution. And among the core themes, there are climate and energy, of course, one of our big aims and challenges in this century. Material science and data science, in other words, fields that are crucial in the interface projects and for the ideas of fab labs and fab cities as well. So I think it's a perfect match, and I would be glad if this process could go on in the next years. then ending the depletion of finite resources and the overexploitation of our natural assets means moving to different conditions and different principles of manufacturing. And in fact, you need a different mindset. It means developing our economy towards a circular economy, very much as you find it in natural processes. And if you look at where we are standing now, if you compare it to that, you realize how far we are away of matching that. But what great benefits would arouse out of it if we could manage going closer in those projects. And so by incorporating function, conservation of resources, durability, and recyclability in products from the beginning, not at the end. If things are broken, if they can't be reused, I mean, that's too late. I mean, you need it from the beginning on. And I always think the concept of a prosumer, the consumers that produce what they are using, that is a very fascinating idea where different things must come together: digital knowledge, civil activities, science, and new concepts for economic. And I'm very glad that the European Union has already taken decisive steps supporting and strengthening trends like that in their Green New Deal. The Commission has set a new course towards sustainability, energy security, and energy sovereignty. With a Sustainable Products Initiative, it's preparing far-reaching legal minimum standards for sustainability of a multitude of products and groups. A core element here is the new eco-design regulation. I think that will be really a milestone and that will enhance many new initiatives and will strengthen activities on a very far basis. It forms the basis, in fact, for sustainable design and requirements from the beginning on. It greatly widens the focus, which in Europe we used primarily on energy efficiency so far. I mean, we have come very far in energy efficiency, but we need now to include much more processes and much more product groups. New criteria such as product durability, reusability, upgradability, and repairability are enshrined in this regulation of the European Union, which sometimes has a bad reputation, and you sometimes, if you are looking closer, what they are doing, there are sometimes much more innovative things included than we Germans sometimes think, being at the head of the movement. Sometimes we need some support of the EU Commission, and I'm glad that that happens at that time already. Other elements, of course, will include a ban on environmental hazardous chemicals and products, in waste avoidance, and an increase in the proportion of recyclates in products. And at the moment, we have a very big discussion in our country about the heating movement, about getting our heating more sustainability. Heat pumps are a very important factor. And as many people learn now, many of the cooling devices that are used are extremely hazardous for the environment, very enduring. And so you can see even doing the right thing on the one side doesn't help if you don't have a broad perspective and addressing other points as well. And so beside that, a key new instrument of the eco-design regulation, will be the digital product passport. And I've learned that that is a very important point already in many of your workshops and many of the projects. I have only seen a few of them so far. This virtual ID card is designed to supply data about components, materials, and chemical constituents, as well as the information on repairability, spare parts, or proper disposals throughout the entire product life cycle. You need a lot of information in order to design new products. We had one product with our waste company here in Hamburg, Stadtreinigung, together with producers of washing materials for washing your laundry. And you can't imagine how much money we had to invest, how much scientific research we had in order to recycle out of the plastic only one cane where you can fill in washing liquids. And so this new eco-design regulation with this digital product passport will help a lot. And it will help a lot because it's not only in Germany, not only in Hamburg, but in Germany, but European-wide. And I'm very interested what the developments that will trigger. The development of a digital product passport is also an important element of the interfacer. The product passport makes it possible to reconstruct the proportion of recyclable components in the local materials cycle. And for example, by tracking and tracing of products, components and raw materials. And this could be done by anyone involved in value-added processes, including consumers. And so, but there were many other projects, as I learned. For example, it was also about permanently tracking contributions to projects and designed in order to be able to distribute future revenues proportionally to all projects participants. So we are very pleased to be actively involved in achieving the EU sustainability goals in Hamburg. We feel supported in our efforts we have started in the past. And we are glad that the EU has supported this project with funding from the European Regional Development Fund. Hamburg has a proud tradition in that time. We were so far the only million city that got the title of Green European Capital. And so we are very happy that this is not only a singular effect, but that is something where many developments are being helped by the EU. And so we are very keen on supporting the process initiated by the EU, because we know that Europe needs a sustainable lifestyle that conserves resources and hold out the prospect of a livable future to coming generations. It's good to know that in addition to many international experts, Hamburg institutions are playing such a significant role in this. And I was very impressed learning who is all involved in this, what has happened here in the last 2 years. In the Interfacer project, for example, our Helmut Schmidt University, the Design Center Hamburg, the Fab City Hamburg Association, the Hamburger Institute of Wertschöpfungssystematik and the Wissensmanagement, and the Dyn Foundation. Just a few of them, all of them are involved, and it shows that we have built already a very strong and impressive network. I'm convinced will have a strong impact not only here in Germany, in northern Germany, but maybe even in the European perspective. So the circular economy means conserving raw materials, resources and energy, and reducing emission and greenhouse gases. Biodiversity can also benefit if we learn to manage resources in cycles, and so to use less land for the raw materials, its extraction. Therefore, I can really only welcome very strongly if in future designers created products in such a way that they do not end up as a waste as most products today still do. If instead their products are durable, repairable, and reusable, or at least, very least, recycling on a higher level. Because if we are talking about recycling today in Germany, we are at the best talking about downcycling, but we need to go upcycling. And so if the cradle-to-cradle approach to replace obsolescence, which is so hostile to sustainability, so there's much to do. There are very, very encouraging processes already on the way. And as far as design is concerned, I imagine that new regulations will present designers with considerable challenges, a new mindset, a new set of production, maybe more circular economy on a local level. And I imagine too that this will be very exciting and certainly a very rewarding task to work at. And I'm certain that the creative brains and companies in our cities and initiatives that are so numerous will respond to this challenge with highly interesting and often very surprising concepts sometimes. Well, we all know the answers to many questions, and certainly to the important ones, often end in this favorite quote of Bill Clinton: in the end, it's the economy, stupid. So that's also true in this process. I mean, in the end, it's crucial to the ecological questions too, to combine them with economy, with something that works, that's something that pays off. And so we will have an approach where digitalization will help, I think, and can play an important role in the realization of the circular economy. And the Interfacer project has taken us an important step forward on the path toward its realization. So many thanks to everybody who has been involved. Go on. Don't get frustrated by some obstacles that always arise. I think you're on a very good way. I think that are very, very impressive and very inspiring results of the project already presented here and in other areas. And I would be very glad coming back. I'm here the second time. I would like to come back a third time and see what has arisen out of this. And thank you for your effort, for your ideas, for your creativity, and for all your efforts for a more sustainable and more future sustainable production, design, in society and city. Thank you for your attention.